magnetic field stimulation of the tissues increases ATP production by between 200 to 400%. So that energy then is available to do the work in the body, whether it needs it for healing or whether it needs it for just rebalancing itself, or to decrease or slow down its aging. And magnetic fields, for example, with telomeres is one of the actions of magnetic fields. Magnetic fields actually increase the amount of telomerase in the body, which makes the telomeres longer, which makes us age less or more slowly.
Welcome to the PEMF Effect, where breakthrough science helps take control of your health. I'm Dr. William Pawluk, and I'm here to guide you in tapping into the power of PEMF therapy for recovery, vitality, and total body wellness. From overcoming chronic pain, optimizing brain health, boosting energy, and aging with strength, this podcast is your path to cutting-edge solutions for lifelong well-being. If you're ready to move beyond symptom management and tap into your body's natural healing ability, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Today's episode is a previously recorded session from a summit where I was a guest speaker.
My next guest is someone that I've gotten to know quite well over the past couple of years, and he is the foremost authority in PEMF, which is pulsed electromagnetic frequencies. And I am using one of his devices right now for my hip flexor, which is a little bit sore. So I'm a huge fan of him. His name is Dr. William Pawluk, or Bill Pawluk, and he's a medical doctor. He is based in Baltimore. He's had appointments at University of Maryland and also Johns Hopkins, and he's studied so much around holistic medicine. You know, early on, and maybe we'll get into it, he saw that there were limits to what traditional medicine could do, and so he started exploring. And he's worked in the field of acupuncture, homeopathy, hypnosis, body work, energy medicine, nutrition, functional medicine. So he's got a wealth of information and knowledge, but he's chosen to really become an expert in PEMF, which I'm a huge fan of. I've got actually two of his machines. I've got one of the bigger machines that I have in our guest bedroom that I lie on a mat every day. And then I love this little machine that he also produces that I just showed you, because I can take it around with me wherever I go. I travel with it. It's really, really cool. Bill has been on Dr. Oz. He's hosted holistic health shows. He's done over 50 TV, magazine, radio interviews. So people are seeking his information out, and I'm really excited to bring him to all of you. So Bill, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you very much for having me, Tom. I look forward to I always look forward to our conversations.
Yeah.
And I look forward to this one as well.
Yeah. So you've learned so much beyond what traditional medical school taught you, and you've worked at medical schools, you've taught at medical schools. How did you settle on PEMF being the thing that you were most excited about? And you've written books on it. You help people with it all over the world. How did it come to that, where this was such a passion for you?
Well, as basically an inquisitive family doctor, I really not been sort of like a member of the pack per se.
Okay.
I was a member of the pack. In fact, I was a medical director of a medical group in New Jersey.
Yeah.
We had 14 family doctors in the medical group, and the biggest family medicine medical group on the whole East Coast of the U.S. And, you know, when you're dealing with people all the time, you're trying to constantly solve problems for them. Now, if you are, I consider myself an unhappy doctor.
Okay.
I'm not happy until I can, help you or solve your problems for you.
I love that.
And so what I learned over the years is that every discipline, whether it's acupuncture or homeopathy or nutrition or medicine, and even within the house of medicine, there's the surgeons and the internists and the allopaths and the DOs, etc. All of these sort of houses or parlors, as I call them, they all have their thing and they do what they do, and there are limitations to every one. So acupuncture has its limitations, chiropractic has its limitations, naturopathy has its limitations. And the key thing for the doctors is and this doesn't happen as a result of training. It takes 5 to 10 years after graduation, after you get into practice, to realize what the limitations are. And then you have a
When
choice.
you first come out, you think you can cure everything, right?
Yeah, what they don't teach you in Harvard Business School, right?
Yeah.
What you learn in reality.
Yeah.
And what you learn is based on what you see.
Mm-hmm.
So if you happen to be living in Africa, you're going to see a different set of conditions and diseases and problems that you have to try to solve. And the problems you're trying to solve in, say, Africa versus Sri Lanka versus China or Nepal are going to be different. Those environments are different.
Yeah.
And so your tools and resources are different. And people's attitudes and perspectives and beliefs become part of the picture. So you adjust what you do to the environment you happen to be in. So as a family physician, I dealt with the resources that I had, the problems that I had, and my turn basically, I was frustrated throughout this whole process anyway. So as an unhappy doctor, I'm in a sense always unhappy because you're not going to solve every single problem that you see.
Sure.
And not only is it based on what I would do or what I would recommend, it's based on what I'm handed.
Right.
So when somebody walks in the door, I never know how I'm going to have to deal with that problem or those problems. And you have to figure out what are the best solutions. And the more tools you have in your toolkit, the more likely you are to solve more problems.
Yeah.
So I remember meeting a doctor once from the UK who said you need at least 3 or 4 disciplines to be able to do adequate work for whatever walks in the door.
Wow.
And since then I've expanded that and said, no, you need a lot more than those 3 or 4 that he was talking about. And he was talking about nutrition, environmental medicine, and acupuncture and homeopathy. So the fourth one was homeopathy. So you take those, you can solve a lot of problems, but that still doesn't solve all problems.
Yeah.
And so I tried all these different tools, like you mentioned. So each one of those things that I studied, they all have their limitations. And so as the more I worked with different devices, and then as I started working with magnetic fields, I realized that magnetic fields by themselves did a lot of the things that many other tools are doing. So if you had one resource, you only had the money to be able to use one resource. You have to choose between laser or red light therapy or acupuncture again or nutrition. So if you did one tool, what would that tool treat the most, provide the most solutions? Turns out that magnetic field therapy is that tool.
Wow.
And you can combine all these other therapies with magnetic therapy, but if you can only afford one tool, magnetic field therapy would be the most useful of all of them. Unfortunately, magnetic field therapy is not just a magnet off your fridge. You can use a magnet off your fridge for that purpose, but it's going to be limited. Or you could use the magnetic system that you have, the flex pulse. That has limitations as well. In an ideal world, you probably need 4 or 5 different magnetic systems to deal with the breadth and width of the problems that you encounter. So I started magnetic field therapy because people were dying or almost dying from conventional medicine, from medicine itself, from the treatments themselves. And in that case, it was gastric bleeding from ibuprofen.
Right.
So I said, okay, I need to find other tools to help with pain.
Right.
And when I look at the hospitals, when I look at my consultants, my specialists, and I look at my peers, my friends and neighbors and family members, okay, they didn't solve those problems adequately either. So acupuncture, I studied acupuncture, and I discovered that people didn't want to have needles. So that was in 1990. Needles? What? Stay away from me with those needles. So I started looking at other ways of doing acupuncture, and as a result, I stumbled onto magnets. So I started working with magnets, and then I discovered that
you just had a fixed magnet you were working with, right? Not a machine like I have.
No, not a machine like you had. So basically, you could take a magnet off a fridge. Whether it's a flat magnet, right, or a button magnet, and you could put that on an ache or a pain, and it will help. Or you can put it on an acupuncture point, and it will stimulate that acupuncture point. So it would give you some of the benefits of acupuncture. But I discovered the magnets were doing more than just acupuncture. So eventually, I stopped doing acupuncture altogether because the magnetic systems were doing more healing. I'll give you an example. I had a spider bite on my leg. And I didn't even know that I got bit. I looked down, there was an area of itching. It was about the size of a quarter. And it was swollen and red and itching. So I put a magnet on it. I taped a magnet on it. 3 hours later, it was gone.
Wow.
So how long does it take for a spider bite to be healed?
Couple
Typically,
days usually, right?
several days, even
Yeah.
weeks, 2 weeks,
Yeah.
depending on how
Yeah.
bad it is and how long it's been there. So I treated it early enough with the right tool, the right magnet,
Hmm.
basically went away. But that's not gonna treat your hip.
Right.
Not big enough or strong enough.
Yeah.
Probably not gonna treat a migraine adequately.
Yeah.
So basically, magnets then become a problem because you'd have to have many magnets all over the body. They all have to be taped on or find a way to keep them on
Yeah.
your body. So what works better, stronger, and more effectively than magnets is pulsed magnetic fields.
Okay.
So that's what the flex pulse is. It's a pulse
Right.
magnetic field.
Yeah.
So the difference between a static magnet, a fridge magnet,
Hmm.
is that it's static. Once you put that button onto your body, right, then you're relying on the body's natural motions, with all the activity in the body to interact with that magnetic field, and then that produces a benefit.
Hmm.
But that's passive. In fact, I went to visit the chief of biomedical engineering at Johns Hopkins, and I said, "What are these static magnets doing? How are they helping the body?" He said, "What? They don't help the body. What are you talking about?" I
Yeah.
have lots of evidence that it helps the body. So we can't explain why it would do that. But a pulse magnetic field, I can understand that. The physics of that, he would understand.
Yeah.
So then I went back and I started studying more and more about why magnets work. And I then began to realize there are these two universes of magnets: the static magnets, we call static or permanent magnets, and pulse magnetic fields. So along the way, I met a doctor from the Czech Republic. And because I was frustrated because I didn't have enough science to
Mhm.
explain what magnets do and how to use
Right.
them. Even though I was seeing results and benefits, why, how,
Yeah.
and what can you do better with what you have? And this Dr. Jarabek from the Czech Republic had translated all this Eastern European literature, science on magnetic field therapies. But it hadn't been published, hadn't been released, and it was written in Czech English, not English.
Yeah.
So he gave me the manuscript. I revised the manuscript completely, and then I published my first book called Magnetic Therapy in Eastern Europe,
Huh.
a review of 30 years of research. So
Yeah.
at that point, in 1992, 93, already, it's been at least 30 years of research in Eastern Europe on
Wow.
magnetic field therapies and all the things they could do.
Yeah.
So pulse magnetic fields are dynamic. They act more actively in the body. And because they're more active, they go deeper, they can go wider, and they can be more accelerate healing responses much faster.
Yeah.
Are you tired of living with chronic pain? Medication only masks the symptoms, but real healing starts at the cellular level. I'm Dr. William Pawluk, the leading expert on PEMF therapy. Pulsed electromagnetic field therapy is a science-backed, drug-free solution that helps reduce pain, speed up recovery, and improve overall health, right from the comfort of your home. Take advantage of an exclusive 10% discount on drpawluk.com PEMF systems. Visit drpawluk.com, that's drpawluk.com, to register and claim your savings. This limited time offer is available only to registered listeners. Don't miss your chance to experience the benefits. Terms and conditions do apply. Don't just manage pain, transform your health. Visit drpawluk.com today and let's get started on your healing journey together.
So explain a little bit what the pulse to electromagnetic frequency actually does in the body. So the ones that I'm familiar with are yours, which they're machines. So I've got a big box, and then there's a pad I lie on, or I can do localized treatment. And then the one I just showed you, where I'm doing localized treatment on my hip. What's going on when I'm lying on that pad, or right now when I have this on my hip flexor? What's happening in my body?
All right. So I'm going to be a little technical, but not too.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? There are two important laws of physics.
Mm-hmm.
This is not my imagination. There are actually laws of physics that were discovered in the 1800s
Yeah.
relate to magnetic fields. And one law is called the Faraday's law of magnetic induction. So Faraday discovered that if you pass a magnetic field past a wire in a loop,
Mm-hmm.
and that wire is attached to a light bulb,
Mm-hmm.
you do a magnetic field past that wire, all of a sudden the light bulb turns on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's called the law of induction. So a magnetic field interacting with anything that can carry current, right?
So this light bulb's not plugged into anything. You just have the coil around it, and it lights the light bulb up.
Think of it as a flashlight.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So basically, the light bulb is sitting there. It hasn't been turned on. It's got it's got a loop of current, loop of wire, right? It's doing nothing at that moment.
Yeah.
Now you have to put charge into that wire. You have to create electrical current in the wire,
right,
to turn on the light bulb. Well, a magnetic field interacting with that wire, the copper wire in that case, induces electric current.
Okay.
And then the light bulb turns on. So about that principle, if you take the magnetic fields and you pass them into the body, right, it's going to interact with any charge, anything that can carry charge.
Yeah.
And the body is not tissue.
Right.
We think it's tissue, but what makes the tissue? Molecules.
Yeah.
In other words, chemistry.
Yeah.
But what makes the chemistry work is physics.
Yeah.
Faraday discovered these laws of physics that if you pass magnetic fields through tissues that have charge to them, ions, electrolytes, right? They have a positive charge, negative charge. Once you start interacting, bingo, you start turning on charge in the body. Wow. So what are you doing? You're increasing the energy in the body.
Right.
So the body's doing it. The body's what's producing the energy. The magnetic field is simply the stimulus.
Turning it on. Yeah.
Turns it on.
Wow.
The magnetic field passes completely through the body. Nothing in a body stops or slows down or uses up a magnetic field. That's another very important principle of magnetic field therapy. It goes right on through. It is, think of it this way: it's like the wind blowing in the trees.
Yeah.
You don't see it.
Right.
The only reason you know it's there is because the leaves or the branches are moving.
Yeah.
Well, the same thing happens in the body. When the magnetic field goes through the body, it's like the wind goes through the body. It's activating the tissues of the cells and the chemical processes in the body that then initiates a capacity for the body to heal itself. And so when you do that, when you increase the charge in the body, you can take a wound that would normally heal in 2 to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Pass a magnetic field through that wound, and it heals in half the time.
Wow.
What
And
we're
so
doing,
it's stimulating the body's natural healing capabilities is what it's doing, right?
correct.
Yeah. Wow. Very
The body
cool.
uses that charge now to do more work.
Gotcha.
So when I'm putting a magnetic field into the body, I'm basically telling the body, work harder.
Uh-huh.
Nice. Like, in a sense, it's like athletics. When you want to run, right? You have to run. You have to use energy, burn energy, and you need the fuel and you need the energy to be able to run.
Yeah.
So magnetic fields are causing the body to run.
Yeah. Very cool.
Faster and harder. You can take a fracture and you can heal a fracture in half the time.
Wow. Wow. And what other types of things? So we've got wounds, we've got fractures. You talked about pain. That's a huge one, right?
There's a natural pain-killing effect of magnetic fields.
Yeah. What other types of things? Because I know we have people listening that, have all sorts of different ailments. That's why they're here at our Global Energy Healing Summit. This is like a way to plug energy in, right? Energy healing safely. Yeah. And we'll talk about the safety in just a minute, but what other types of conditions can this be helpful for?
All right. So people tend to think, doctors tend to think of conditions, headache, shoulder pain, pain of any kind, a heart attack, asthma, infections, bruises, cuts, etc. We tend to think in terms of the problem. Yeah. But what happens is most problems have very common actions that are part of those problems. So inflammation is a common action. Lack of energy is a common action. The need to heal, the need to rebuild tissue, make new tissue, decrease swelling, improve circulation, decrease inflammation. So all of these are actions of magnetic fields, and they work regardless of the problem. Because what they're doing is they're working in the body. Yeah. And the body says, okay, if I have a fracture, then what I want to do is reduce the pain. I want to reduce the swelling. I want to improve circulation to the area of the fracture. I want to decrease inflammation, etc. So you get all these actions that magnetic fields have now get invoked by the body, and the body does what it needs then to fix the problem. So it really doesn't matter what the problem is.
Yeah.
It's going to help the tissue. And it doesn't matter whether you're a dog, a camel, a pig, or a bacterium. It's going to act on all biological processes that have structure to them.
So pretty much can help with most things then.
Almost anything.
Because it's going to increase circulation, it'll decrease inflammation, it'll stimulate energy, right? It'll do things.
Regeneration and repair.
Yeah. It's like a great helper to the body's natural ability to heal, where it just makes it quicker and easier, right?
Sure. I mean, you're using the body itself. You're using the body's own natural resources to be able to do it better, faster. So when you cut yourself, or I cut myself, I'm relying, and when your surgeon cuts you, have an appendectomy or some kind of surgical procedure, after you have a wound, that wound has to heal. What does the surgeon do to help you to heal your wound?
He crosses his fingers, or her fingers.
Fingers, right?
Yeah.
So you say, okay, fine, come back in 2 weeks, we'll take those sutures out.
Yeah.
The surgeon does nothing to help you to heal yourself. So what we're relying on is chance.
Yeah.
We're relying on the natural ability of that body to heal itself.
Yeah.
Magnetic fields remove chance.
Yeah.
They dramatically decrease chance. Now you're providing more energy into the tissues, and that energy then is used by the body to work better than it would normally work by chance.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. And I know your goal probably is to have some sort of energy PEMF mechanism in everybody's home, right? They'd be a lot healthier, right?
Why wouldn't they?
Yeah, exactly.
So we all have nicks and scratches, right?
Yeah.
Nicks and bruises and scratches and cuts and
headaches and all sorts of things. Yeah.
All of us. And athletes often focus on performance.
Yeah.
Performance relies on a body to be optimized in its working.
Right.
So anybody who's doing magnetic field therapy and wants to improve performance without having an injury,
going
to automatically improve performance.
Yeah.
Because if you can increase ATP by 200 to 400%, ATP is the energy of the cell, the energy production processes of the cell.
Yeah.
Magnetic field stimulation of the tissues increases ATP production by between 200 to 400%. So that energy then is available to do the work of the body, whether it needs it for healing or whether it needs it for just rebalancing itself,
right,
or to decrease or slow down its aging.
Yeah.
And magnetic fields, for example, with telomeres is one of the actions of magnetic fields. Magnetic fields actually increase the amount of telomerase in the body, which makes the telomeres longer, which makes us age less or more slowly.
Yeah. I think you told me too that PEMF stimulates the production of more stem cells. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So how do you repair a cut? You need to generate DNA and RNA. You need to get fibroblasts. You need all kinds of connective tissue supplements to come into the area of the wound. And telomerase and stem cells are the two biggest components of those tissues being able to repair. Stem cells especially. Yeah. A lot of people these days are getting stem cell injections. Yeah. And they're paying $4,000 to $12,000 for stem cells. Right. Magnetic fields stimulate the stem cells. They not only stimulate the stem cells, they help them to differentiate. In other words, to grow into the tissue that you want it to grow into, to heal that tissue. Right. They have to survive there too. They have to be able to survive in the environment they get put into, and they have to last. So once they've been generated and they differentiate into the tissue, they then have to last in that tissue. You can't grow a garden in a swamp. So stem cells are helped by PEMF therapy as well. And you probably shouldn't be wasting your money on stem cell therapy unless you're doing PEMF therapy. Yeah. Okay, good.
Your body was designed to heal, but illness, chronic disease, stress, injury, and time can slow that process down. What if you could restore your body's natural ability to recover, recharge, and feel its best? The key to healing is giving your body the energy to repair itself. PEMF therapy does exactly that. Recharging your cells, improving circulation, reducing inflammation, and helping you function at your best. For decades, I've studied this technology, worked with hundreds of medical professionals, and helped thousands of people reduce pain, regain energy, and take control of their health. However, not all PEMF devices are created equal. No one size fits all. We offer personalized consultations so you can find the right device for your needs, backed by real science and trusted results. If you're ready for a real solution, let's talk. Schedule a consultation at drpawluk.com. That's drpawluk.com, because real healing starts at the cellular level.
But if you're doing PEMF therapy, you're generating some increase in stem cells anyways. Yeah, really, really cool. So people have heard, PEMF may be new to people. They hear EMF and they're like, oh, be careful of EMF. Distinguish between PEMF and EMF, if you could, please, like the things that come off of cell phone towers and things like that.
So PEMF is pulsed, so it has a rate to it.
Yeah.
Static magnet is fixed. It doesn't move.
Yeah.
PEMF is going like this. So it's much more dynamic.
Yeah.
And we could talk about frequencies and how fast it's going. But the most important thing, based on Faraday's law, to go back to that law, is the fact that the magnetic field is moving into the body. As it goes into the body, again, it's like somebody pushing you. Your body has to react to being pushed. And you try to maintain your balance when you've been pushed. Well, magnetic fields are doing that into the body. So it's a pulse, and that pulse, as it goes into the body, then generates all that charge in the body. So EMFs are environmental magnetic fields.
Okay.
They're in the environment, and they get sent out into the environment, like radar and like radio waves and TV waves and so on. Yeah. They are out into the environment. Microwaves, which comes from cell phones, right? Yeah. They're basically going out into the environment as well. A PEMF is generated by a current flowing in a wire.
Okay.
So anytime you have current flowing in a wire, you're going to have a magnetic field associated with it. And that current, as it's flowing through the wire, this is called the right-hand rule. The pulse, the magnetic field is produced in perpendicular to the flow of the current. So every time that pulses, this goes out. The magnetic field goes out. So the ones that go out in the environment are what we call open loop, and the ones that are produced by current in a wire are closed loop. It always collapses back onto itself.
Okay.
It doesn't keep going to infinity.
Right.
Well, that's the major difference. And because the other kinds of EMFs are frequencies.
Yeah.
Frequencies have wavelengths, and they can be extremely long, they'll be hundreds of miles long, or they can be extremely short.
Yeah.
The ones we worry about the most are the ones that are shorter than the body.
Oh.
Either in width or depth or breadth or length. And if they're microwaves, they're extremely short. Which means they get absorbed by the body. That's the principle behind a microwave oven.
Right. So it cooks something. Yeah.
It's cooking something.
Yeah.
And a cell phone attached to your ear is going to cause redness of your ear.
Yeah.
If you just put your hand to your ear, it's going to turn minimally red. But if you have a cell phone, you can see the ear is quite red.
Yeah.
Because the microwaves in that cell phone are cooking the ear.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? The EMFs are not designed for health purposes.
Yeah.
They're designed for communication.
Right.
And the body just happens to get in the way.
Yeah. Yeah. So somebody that wants more energy, maybe they're a little bit fatigued, PEMF is going to help them with their energy. You already talked about that, like increasing the ATP by 200 to 400%. That's really amazing.
And it does that locally. It may do that to some extent throughout the body, but that energy creation gets used up very rapidly by the body.
Yeah.
You can't expect to do a 10-minute PEMF treatment and have that ATP production last for hours and hours and hours. It may not.
Right. So let's talk about treating with PEMF. What is the typical, like even just somebody preventative or anti-aging? How often or how long and how often should they do PEMF treatment? And it probably depends upon the machine they're using. And you're an expert, and you've got I think even guidebooks people can access that tell them a bunch of information. Well, before you answer the question, where can people go, Bill, to find your books and the information that you have around PEMF? Because it really is great information.
Well, the website is chock full of information, and for many people, it's overwhelming. But there's a huge amount of information. It's a big library of information on drpawluk.com. That's drpawluk.com.
Okay.
And then the two books, I'm not going to refer you to the Eastern European research book because it's just research.
Yeah.
The two useful books that I recommend for people are Power Tools for Health,
Okay.
which has over 500 scientific references.
Okay, cool.
It's less of a guidebook. It's more informational, but less of a guidebook. And then the guidebook is called Supercharge Your Health with PEMF Therapy.
Mm-hmm.
That combination, the combination of those two books actually gives you a full basic resource.
Yeah.
drpawluk.com and the two books.
Okay, good. So drpawluk.com is a great resource. And so like you're a healthy person. How often and how long are you using PEMF during the day?
All right. So this is where it can be confusing.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the individual has to make that decision.
Okay.
Think of it this way. Remember, we're influencing biological processes and biochemical processes in the body fields to do all the things that they do with healing. We have about 100 trillion cells in our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
100 trillion.
Yeah.
And depending on the estimate, somewhere between 60 to 100 trillion.
Yeah.
Every single cell in the body has about 100,000 biochemical processes per second.
Wow. Happening in all of us right now. That's amazing.
Continuously. And the body does it all.
Yeah.
And the cell does it all. So how much treatment time do we need? First of all, the answer is you can't overdo it.
Okay. So there's no adverse side effects to overdoing it.
Not really.
Yeah.
Healthy cells ignore the magnetic field.
Okay.
Healthy cells don't need the extra energy. They've got enough energy.
Yeah.
If they're damaged, if they're hurt, or if they're inflamed, or if they're aging, if you just went out and ran a 10K race, you're hurting.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You need help.
Yeah.
And you can either let your body take care of itself and cross your fingers.
Yeah.
Right? Or you help it to regenerate and recover. So we don't know. The problem is we just don't know. Some effects of magnetic fields last for days.
Okay.
Some effects of magnetic fields last for seconds.
Mm.
So depending on the problem and depending on what your goals are, you may find that you can do an hour treatment or half-hour treatment once a day, and that's all you need.
Mm-hmm.
But it depends on what your objectives are. So with given all those processes that are going on in the body continuously, generally speaking, the more treatment time you can give it, the better the results will be.
Okay.
For an average person for health maintenance. Now, if you're a 70-year-old doing health maintenance, that's a whole lot different than a 40-year-old doing health maintenance, unless you happen to be a professional athlete.
Yeah.
If you're playing for one of the NFL teams, you're hurting. You're hurting.
Yeah, especially if you're 40 years old playing for one of the NFL teams, right? You're really hurting. Yeah.
But they turn 40 when they're 25.
Yeah.
Right? Because of all the harm that they are exposing themselves to. So you may need to do more treatment more often, depending on what kind of lifestyle you have. My usual recommendation, and then the person's going to have to figure out based on the device they have, based on the problems they're treating, how much time you need. So if you find that you do a half hour twice a day on a whole body magnetic system, or even with the flex pulse, and it takes care of business, that's all you need.
Yeah.
If it doesn't take care of business, or like say, for example, with pain, if you're dealing with your flex pulse for a hip problem, and the pain goes away and doesn't come back for 4 or 5 hours, well, then maybe you may want to treat again in 4 or 5 hours.
Okay.
On the other hand, with a low intensity magnetic field like the flex pulse, you may want to do it for hours at a time.
Yeah.
In order to get sufficient healing that when you go to bed at night, you're going to be much more comfortable in bed. The answer is it depends on the problem and the person's objectives. So there's no really good hard and fast rule. It's not like taking an aspirin. One aspirin and you're done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although
and not all machines are equal. Like the Flex Pulse, which is a great machine because I can travel with it. It's very, very compact. Here's part of it, and then it's got it actually can do two, but I've got one of the applicators on my hip. So when I'm using that, let me put it back down there. It's working really well today. I love this. But you say that's a lower powered device, right? Still works great because it's mobile. You can travel, you can put it in your pocket, you can have it on your back, wherever you want while you're traveling. But then you have more high-powered devices too. And I've got one of your high-powered device that you can really feel it. Like you can hear it, you can actually hear it pulsing, and you can feel it.
You can feel like a tap with it as well.
Yeah, it feels like a little tap. Yeah. So how does somebody figure out, and I know you are an amazing resource, how does someone figure out the right device for them? Do you do consulting on that and help them with that?
So that's one of the aspects of finding information on what you should get.
Okay.
Supercharge Your Health book has guidelines.
Okay.
So you have to decide, do you want to have just a local treatment like that?
Yeah.
Battery operated and lower intensity. So you have to combine the area that you want to treat, the intensity that you need for what you're trying to accomplish, right? And that's the basic decision. Then you have a battery operated machine. The stronger machines have to be powered. So they need an outlet, a power outlet, to be able to accomplish that. So there's a range of intensities.
Yeah.
A key on my website on drpawluk.com, unless you have the book, if you have the book Supercharge Your Health, there's an appendix about adenosine. So the adenosine receptor is responsible for inflammation, and research has shown that 15 Gauss. So Gauss is a measure of magnetic field intensity, Gauss.
Okay.
15 Gauss is the optimal magnetic field intensity to help with inflammation. But then we have another law of physics called the inverse square law, that the magnetic field intensities drop off very rapidly as you move away from the applicator.
Okay.
We have to account for the intensity, and then you have to account for the distance that you're trying to treat. So if you read the adenosine blog on drpawluk.com, or you read it in the book, then that tells us that we need 15 Gauss at the target tissue, like even the skin, to decrease inflammation. But if you're working deeper into the body, for example, if you want to treat across the brain or concussions or Parkinson's or MS or head injuries, then basically you need a stronger magnetic field. So to go across the brain and deliver 15 Gauss through the brain and across the brain, you need about 4,000 Gauss. Deliver 15 across the brain. So so the book gives you those kinds of guidelines. What are you trying to accomplish? And what devices are there to do that will do that for you? Yeah. So that's where I'd go for that science. Because you can't really do harm with it, I would say that most people are going to be better off with a high intensity machine. So if you can have at least 4,000 Gauss with your equipment, and you're going to be able to take care of most problems most people will need PEMFs for. Okay, 4,000 Gauss. The Flex Pulse you have is only 200 Gauss. So 200 is stronger than 15. Right. So it's not going to work that deep. The other most important thing to understand about magnetic field therapy is that every magnetic field therapy treatment to the body is stimulating acupuncture points and meridians. So that's one of the key mechanisms of action of PEMFs. Yeah. I stopped doing acupuncture therapy because magnetic fields can do that and more. Right. Yeah, that's outstanding. So you have to sort of figure out for yourself, and the Supercharge Your Health book provides you the best guidelines for what devices to get and use. I guarantee you, though, price is going to matter. Yeah. Now, unfortunately, there are a lot of people, and probably a lot of people listening and watching, who may have already spent $6,000 for a 1 Gauss machine. Or 1 Gauss machine, yeah. Right? Multi-level marketing, that's what happens. You can spend $6,000 for a 1 Gauss machine. Always ask for the intensity. Yeah. If you don't know the intensity, then you don't know what you're buying. Yeah. So the 1 Gauss machine is not going to do a whole lot. Well, it's going to stimulate the acupuncture points and meridians. So if you still feel good with it, with the treatment, but it's not healing because it doesn't have the energy to go deeper into the body to heal adequately. Okay. Like the brain or the heart or the stomach or through a spine or across the hips. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Superficially, it can help superficially, but it may not heal deeply into the hips. So if you have bone-on-bone arthritis in your hips or your knees, 15 Gauss or 1 Gauss is not going to work. You have to go higher. Yeah. Yeah. But some people are paying too much for not a whole lot. Yeah. Okay. Okay, cool. Well, yeah, you've been a wealth of information. You've been so helpful for me over the past couple of years. And,
and you're just you got a huge heart. I know you love helping people. I'm so glad we were able to have you on here. And again, go visit Dr. Bill's site, Dr. Pawluk, Pawluk, no C, but LUK.com, and check it out. I'm a huge fan, and it's so good to see you again, Bill. Thanks again for being with us.
You're very, very welcome. I always enjoy our interactions. It's always a pleasure.
Thanks for joining me on the PEMF Effect. I hope today's conversation gave you new tools, insights, and inspiration to take control of your health. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who could benefit from PEMF therapy and holistic healing. Your body has the power to repair, recover, and thrive. Sometimes it just needs the right charge. Until next time, stay curious, stay proactive, and keep powering up to better health.